Okay, so the first thing I want to do when squatting is to make sure that my feet are properly aligned. And the alignment for that is going to be shoulder width apart. Now I can have my feet slightly outside of my shoulders. That's okay. That's just going to depend on the length of my femur and things of that nature. But rule of thumb is to have my feet shoulder width apart or slightly outside of that. Okay, so when I unrack the bar and I get into this position here, I want to grab the bar and pull the bar down into my shoulders. The mistake that a lot of athletes make is that they shrug their shoulders trying to make this shelf with their traps, when in reality I want to pull that bar down into my shoulders, squeeze my scapula down, and then that's how I'm going to create a stable back with that. Then after that, I can breathe in through my stomach, kind of creating a weight belt with the air in my belly. Now, when I actually get into my squat here, I'm trying to make sure that my heels are staying on the ground, and really that I'm making contact with my entire foot on the ground as I'm squatting. I'm keeping a straight neutral spine here, and then if am I getting below parallel, which is 90 degrees. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna check on for the athlete is just hand placement on the bar while doing the above the knee hang clean. And hand placement should be shoulder width apart, slightly outside of my shoulders is fine as well. Okay, and now when I get into this position here where I start to hinge back at the hips and I start to drop the bar right above my knees, I want to make sure that the barbell stays glued to my thighs here. I want to engage my lats and pull that bar back into my thighs as if I'm trying to break the barbell with my legs. A lot of times you're going to see athletes and they're going to let this bar drift on them. You know, that bar is going to drift far in front of them. There's going to be a lot of space between their thighs and the bar, and that's going to cause some problems. They're not going to be able to catch it as easy in the lift later, and it's also going to cause problems in their low back with that load so far in front of them. Now, as I'm starting to come up in my lift, I'm going to push my hips forward, shrug my shoulders, high pull the bar, and then at the top of this lift, I'm going to push my elbows through so that they're pointing forward. Okay, so the first thing I want to make sure when an athlete is bench pressing is just to make sure that he has all 5 points of contact down. So his head, shoulders, and back should be on the bench, and then his 2 feet should be on the floor, and that'll count as a point of contact for each foot. Okay, and then the next thing I want to focus on when an athlete is bench pressing is just to make sure that his elbows are nice and tight to his body. His elbows should almost be facing forward as he's benching here. Also, the path of the bar here shouldn't be a straight up and down vertical path. It should be up and back, almost looking like a J formation. Okay, now the first thing the athlete wants to do when performing the chin up is he wants to roll his shoulders back and then pull his scapulas down. So he's going to be doing a scapula pull before he starts his set of chin ups. Now when the athlete starts to get into the actual movement of the chin up, he wants to keep his elbows really tight to his body and pointed forward the entire time. Okay, so when an athlete's getting ready to do his box jumps, the first thing he wants to do is hinge back at the hip, same as the above the knee hang clean here. And then as he jumps up and as he lands, I like to think of it as I want to land in the same position that I jump from. So I'm going to jump up, I'm going to hinge back at the hips right here, and he's going to jump and land in that same exact position that I jumped.